Hey everybody, Flip with Kelly. Kelly coming at you here. Today I wanted to talk to you about government lists. So I do pull government lists in my the area that I market to, and so there's a lot of government lists, but I'll give you some examples, some of them that I do and stuff. So the number one recommendation I would give you is to go after probates. And for me, how I got my start with the government list, now you can go after all kinds of lists, right? You go after fire damage properties is a good one, foreclosures, code violations. You may have a health department. So health violations, and you can go after evictions. You can go after liens, which could be like, tax liens is a good one. Somebody gets behind on their taxes. That's a pretty good motivation. So yeah, there's all kinds you can go after. Some kinds that I haven't gone after that I probably should and will down the road. There's water shutoff is a good list. However, like in my area, there is no water shutoff list. So they do things a little different there. They never shut the water off in my area, and therefore they don't have to turn it back on. They don't shut it off. They don't turn it on. They just bypass. They just eliminate. They just cut it out. They don't do it. So what they do in my area, so there probably is some type of a list. I just haven't pressed them for it. I did check into the water shutoff list back when I first got started, and there is no such a list. So the way they do it in my area, I mean, I work several different areas, but they put the any water bill that you don't pay, I think they put it on your taxes. So, and then basically what happens there is your bank tax it onto your mortgage, and you got to pay your mortgage or you go into foreclosure. So there you go. Problem solved. So in my immediate area, that's what they do. But like I said, I work a lot of different areas, so I should be contacting all these different water companies. So, so yeah, it just depends on how far you want to go. Some of the government lists are more motivated than others. So, but sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. So the earlier you can catch them, like pre-foreclosure list or foreclosures are highly motivated. But if you can get to them earlier to where they're less motivated, then you'll get to them before somebody that just goes after the foreclosure list. So there is that. And then you can get into stacked lists, are better yet. And then as far as a stacked list, and getting off topic here a little bit, but stacked list, you can do it one of two ways, which usually involves a combination, so you could say three, but the basic two ways a stacked list are you can test out one stack at a time to see, how that is, feel it out, or you can just go right into a full-blown stack list. But so it just depends on how you want to do it. So like a stacked list, an example of a stacked list would be if a house is it's a probate and it's going into foreclosure and there's a tax lien on it. We actually did one of those. I'm not sure if it was in foreclosure, but it was a probate, and we had to actually go to court with the seller. My partner did, because I didn't live down there, Milwaukee, but I did my marketing and we moved on it as fast as we could, at least back then. Now I'm actually probably I might be like a day quicker now because I'm getting a little faster. But the letter got to him. He responded. We made him an offer. We moved on as quick as we could, and we were 1 day late for paying the taxes. So therefore, being a day late, had to go to court before the judge, and the seller ended up smelling like booze because he was a drinker. Went into court smelling like booze. My partner went in there with him, and the judge granted a 45-day extension because we went to court trying to be responsible, take care of it. And so, yeah, that's real estate for you. You're solving problems, and the bigger the problem is to solve, typically the better you get paid, especially if you're good at negotiating. Anyways, getting back to the government lists, you can get these stacked lists, but you don't have to focus on stacked lists right away if you don't want to. Just go after the government lists, and the stacked, you'll eventually run into them like we did. But for the stay on topic of this conversation is the government list. So how I kind of got my start, like I said, go after the probates first. In my opinion, that's what's worked very well for me, and we've gotten deals many other ways too. But so what you want to do is go down to the courthouse, and then you gotta have a little fun if you really don't know what you're doing, like I didn't know what I was doing. And it can be a little bit scary or stressful perhaps, but you know, if you're gonna get into wholesaling, you're gonna have to learn how to ask questions, whether it's with people at the courthouse or sellers or cash buyers, and you're gonna have to get good at communication, and you know, you're gonna have to have a little bit of thick skin. You're gonna have to learn that no means maybe later, try again, come back another day. Be nice, be pleasantly persistent. That's the game of the name. So I believe I went down to the courthouse and I went to this department and asked, were these probates? And then I went to this department, and then that department, and then this department. And then when you go to a department and you finally find the right department, you might not know you found the right department, or you think you did and you don't. And there's a lot of times, at least for me, there's gonna be a couple of different people there in that department, and maybe not on that day. So you got to have the one that's in the know. Maybe they're a supervisor, and then you got somebody that probably don't know what's going on. So same thing at a title company. You know, you get well, that's another topic for another day, but just consider the source. When you talk to somebody, realize they might not know what the heck you're talking about. So how are they going to give you an answer? They don't have it up here. So I asked a gal questions, and for me, they had computers in an adjacent room, and they explained this to me. And there was a code for the computer to be able to find these probates, because at least in our system here in Wisconsin, the things are coded. Like if you just try to go into the online, it's all going to be lumped together in one. And then how do you even start to find it? Because there's probably tens of thousands, who knows how many records, for how long ago too, like not just today, right? But so they gave me a code to enter into the computer to be able to find the probates. So then I was trying to get the information off there. I really didn't know what I was gathering the information, and what do I write down, and then there's all these records, and then I got the bright idea to go down there and just take photos of the screen instead of writing this all down. And I asked them, I said, is it okay to take pictures? And they said, well, we can't stop you. So in other words, they weren't too crazy about that idea, but I did that for a little while. I thought if I take a picture, I ain't got to sit at this computer so long, get the heck out of here. And I went home and I was trying to write down the information from the pictures, or call off the pictures, get the address or whatever I got to do. I was trying to figure it all out. And eventually, this took me a while, right? So hopefully I'm saving you guys some time here, but I figured out that I could go on my own computer at home, and because I thought I could only access it from their computer, but no. All the exact same information I can access at home online. So then I figured that out. And then I started mailing letters. And then all of a sudden, seller called me. She says, I got your letter. I put it in a box somewhere and forgot all about it. I'm lucky I found it again. So there's your follow-up that I never did. But I think I talked to her like one time, just that initial phone call, and she was more of a texter. And even though you're supposed to talk to these people, call them up and actually talk to them on the phone, I was a little nervous back then. This was only a couple of years ago, and I'm like, I really didn't know what to say to them and what questions to ask. I didn't know my rebuttals, and I just didn't have the confidence. So I texted her and literally just figuring it out as I went, day to day, text to text, and made mistakes. And that deal, and that was a crazy deal too, because the seller was out of state. It's a probate deal, and her brother was living in the house, and she lived in Texas, and right in the middle of the deal, she got hit by Hurricane Beryl. Her power in her home got knocked out for 5 days. No power. So, and I didn't know how to do DocuSign. So, and then I think that her occupation had to deal directly with the hurricane and was affected by it somehow. So I'm not sure exactly what she was doing, but directly, their business probably went through the roof trying to keep up because it was directly hurricane related somehow. And so she was busier than busy. And then, I'd try to send her things to print out, and she couldn't even turn her lights on, let alone get to a printer, and no time. And came right down to the last day of closing. I was texting like a madman, literally hours. I was at work, self-employed. I set my tools down, and literally for an hour here, half an hour there, 2 hours, literally just texting from the title company to the seller, because they had a hard time communicating. Power was out, whatever. And I would text whatever the title company wanted from the seller. I would text that to the seller. And anything the seller had to say to the title company, I would text it back. And the title company called me up on the day of closing and said, we don't think we're going to be able to close on time because we need this and this. And we can't really get a hold of her, and she ain't calling us back. And I'm just texting. I'm doing my best. And I think it was an hour or two later, they're like, okay, she got a hold of us. We're going to close. And barely got it closed on time. And that was over $20,000. Now, I did bring a partner in, a JV partner on that deal. Shout out to Brady. He did an awesome job. Brady had DocuSign. So, who knows? You just never know, right? Brady got 10% of that deal. I found the deal. I brought the buyer. But I offered him 10%, whether he brought the buyer or not, he would get 10% of the deal. And you never know. His DocuSign might have saved the day. Maybe the deal would have never got across the finish line. And I don't know, what did I make on that deal? Probably maybe around $19,000. So 19,000 or nothing could have been without Brady. So thank you, Brady. And so yeah, that is how I would get my start. Once you find the probates, you'll find the pre-foreclosures, or maybe you want to go after the pre-foreclosures first and then go after the probates, or maybe you want to do code violations. There's tons of government lists you can go after. Go after one. Get one and start marketing to it consistently. Okay? And if your back's against the wall, all the better. That'll motivate you. And there's many other things to this game, but yeah, go ahead and go down to your courthouse and keep going back there like I did if you have to. See if you can go online, figure it out. And if you've been nice in trying with a gal in the probate department or whatever department, maybe the supervisor will speak up like she did for me, because she knew the answer, so she spoke up. She just happened to overhear what I was talking to the other gal about. And if you don't get them on that day, go back another day, and maybe the right person will be in there for you. So I'm not sure what else I can say about government lists. And then in my area, like, the probates are separate from the code violations. Code violations I don't get from the online website. That I got to get through email. And then fire department, that's going to be the fire department. So you're going to have to find a phone number, get an email, and they'll tell you if you got to request it every single month. Then you got to email them every month. So you'll get it figured out. Just start with one and get it going, and eventually you'll hit. So this is Kelly. Pow, the share button, the like button, the subscribe button, the bell button, the whatever button. So button up your coat when you go outside. If you live around here, it's cold. All right, this is Kelly. Later.